Jessica Marie Lunsford was born October 6, 1995 in Gastonia, North Carolina. She later moved with her single father to Homosassa, Florida. 9-year-old Jessica was abducted from her home in the early hours of February 24th of 2005. Florida police did an intense search for 3 weeks, questioning nearby residents. One resident in particular the cops were interested in questioning was John Evander Cooey, who happened to live only 65 yards from Jessica's house on West Snowbird Court. He was a convicted sex offender and had an extensive record that included trespassing and burglary, but he was nowhere to be found. On March 12th, Cooey was arrested in Augusta, Georgia, and returned to Florida for questioning. During the interview, Cooey said he had no idea what happened to 9-year-old Jessica, although he heard about the case on the news. He told detectives he had only moved to Georgia for work. After the interview, the police released him. On March 14th, Citrus County police asked Cooey's sister, Dorothy Dixon, if it was all right if they searched his room. She agreed. During the search, they found blood-stained pillows and a mattress. The DNA was tested, and it was a combination of John Cooey and Jessica Lunsford. Cooey was arrested March 17th. On March 18th, he confessed. He told cops he broke into the house through an unlocked door at 3 a.m. to rob the family, but when he seen little Jessica, who he thought was only 6 years old, he couldn't help himself. He admitted to kidnapping, rapping, and then murdering her. He told the detectives he had her in his room for 3 days. He convinced her to get into a trash bag, telling her that she was going to get dropped back off to her family. She complied, but instead, he buried her. On March 19th, police found Jessica Lunsford's body in a plastic bag on his property and was buried in a hole about 2.5 feet deep and covered in leaves. After an autopsy, the coroner concluded that she died from lack of oxygen, so literally, she was buried alive. Cooey's sister, Dorothy Dixon, said she had no idea that he had Jessica in his room for 3 days and that she was the one who gave him money for a bus ticket to Georgia. On June 30th, 2006, Cooey's confession was thrown out by a judge because he did request a lawyer and the police gave him no such thing while continuing to interrogate him. The court ruled that all the evidence collected after his confession was still able to be used. On March 7th, 2007, Cooey was found guilty on all charges. On August 11, 2007, the jury recommended he be put to death. His defense argued that his IQ was below normal and it was inhumane to execute a mentally handicapped man under the 2002 Supreme Court ruling. However, his IQ had to be under 70, but Cooey's IQ was 78, so technically he didn't qualify under Florida law. On September 30th, 2009, John Cooey died of natural causes, never to hurt a child again. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Mark Lunsford, Jessica Lunsford's father, quit his trucking job to pursue a new legislation that provided a more strict tracking of released sex offenders, such as wearing ankle monitors. It was named the Jessica Lunsford Act, or Jessica's Law, as known in other states. The Citrus County's Children's Advocacy Center was founded in August 2006 and is also known as Jesse's Place in honor of Jessica. Mark Lunsford went on to become an activist for children's rights, leading to a 2011 documentary film called Jesse's Dad. Ultimately, I am so happy that this man passed. I don't care how slow he was. He was smart enough to hide her body, smart enough to get the heck out of there. He wasn't that slow. And Jessica's father went on to do so many amazing things. I know it's so hard for a single father to feel like you couldn't protect your baby girl. And after that, he did nothing but try to protect other baby girls. R.I.P. to Jessica Lunsford. I am so sorry this happened to her. And just reading her story and looking at all of her pictures, I could tell she was such an amazing girl. And it is so tragic and sad what happened to her. And that her dad used her death to help so many others, including starting a law that is seen all around America now. I know that this will never bring the peace that he needs and so much desires, but I'm sure it gave him enough to push and keep going. And if you made it to the end, I really appreciate it. Sorry that this is such a sad, sad story, but I feel like her story needed to be told. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day and God bless.